the Hairy Hippo.
Hey, it's the Hairy Hippo here, and have I got a whopper of an origin story for you today. A few friends of mine, I actually do have friends, shock horror. Anyway, they've asked me a couple of times how Worgens and Goblins can be Death Knights. I mean, for those of you that don't know, the Death Knight is a class that starts at level 55 during the time of Arthas' Reign of Terror. You start in the Eastern Plaguelands, in the Arcturus, Floaty, Death Citadel, Doohickey, and receive training and orders from Arthas himself. So, what do we know? We know that Gilneas put up a wall during the Second War, which was before the time of Arthas Scourginus, and no one knew what happened to them until the Cataclysm, basically, so let's just push them aside as they didn't exist, and therefore weren't able to become Death Knights. As for Goblins, well, there were definitely Goblins around before Wrath of the Lich King when Death Knights came about, so they shouldn't really be that difficult to recruit into the Scourge. To be more exact, during the Death Knight starter campaign as a Goblin, we find out that the Argent Dawn friend of ours, the other Goblin, that was captured, was in the Steamweedle cartel with us. And when we died, he figured that if roles were reversed, we'd be the ones to join the Argent Dawn to exact vengeance for your friend. So that's what he or she did, depending on obviously what your race, what your gender is. Damn, that was a bit of a mouthful. Alright, so have I pretty much explained the Goblin confusion? I mean, I'll take that as a yes, so let's crack on with the Worgens, as it's a bit more interesting in my opinion than the Goblins one. The Goblins one was just a bit like we'll just do this, and that'd be fine. But the Worgens, there's a bit more mystery to it, and we like a bit of mystery. As I said earlier, the Gilneans closed their borders and shut themselves away from the world. So where did the Worgen DKs come from? I think at some point I'll have to do a Where Did Worgens Come From video to fully explain everything, because it's quite an interesting backstory on how they came about. But to cut the long story short, there's always been a place that has had Worgens in and around it, and that would be Shadowfang Keep. This place, and the village on its grounds called Pyrewood, has had an infestation of mad, wild, crazed Worgen ever since vanilla. But some of them were controlled by the lovely Kirin Tor mage named Arogal, which he's not in there now, but he was in the pre-cataclysm or pre-revamp of Shadowfang Keep. By lovely, I mean he was like proper dedicated to the prevention of the Scourge by enslaving and building a superhuman army, which were the Worgens basically. I mean, he didn't invent the Worgens, but he was utilising the Worgen curse, as it were, to build the superhuman army. Kind of sounds a little like Illidan, where he's using night elves to become demons and demon hunter essences and all that kind of stuff. So, but not quite as badass and awesome as Illidan. So, poor old Arogal. You're just second place, mate. You are the Pepsi to the cola of Illidan. So the key to figuring out why Worgens can be DKs comes down to the quest chain as you level in the starter area. As you can see in this video, I spent quite a considerable amount of time actually doing the leveling process, and then I found the answer we've all been looking for. Not how to make like millions of gold, which is basically what everybody wants. You need to go see Want to Buy Gold channel for that, which I'll link in the description below. But it's how this came about. How did we become, as Worgens, Death Knights? Genius. So I'm going to try and voice the story. So apologies now for my appalling voice acting skills, because as you can tell I'm quite monotone, especially this morning, as I'm doing it in the morning on a Saturday, and I'm tired, and I need a drinky. I need a cup of tea, but you know, deal with it. So let's do this.
Hippo Wargi, I'd recognise that face anywhere. What? What have they done to you, Hippo Wargi? You don't remember me? We were both servants of Arogal back in the Silverpine Forest. We put up with this merciless torture for ages. It was you who saved me from that fateful night when we escaped Shadowfang Keep. Without you, I would have died. You, the most noble Worgen I ever knew. What have they done to you, Hippo Wargi? How could this ever have happened? Remember the Worgen you once were, brother. You are our savior. Fight this. Listen to me, Hippo Wargi. You must fight against the Lich King's control. He's a monster that wants to see this world, our world, in ruin. Don't let him use you to accomplish his goals. You were once a hero, and you can be again. Fight, damn you! Fight his control. There's no more time for me. I'm done. Finish me off, Hippo Wargi. Do it, or they'll kill us both, Hippowargi. Remember Gilneas, our beloved home. This world is worth saving. Do it, Hippowargi. Put me out of my misery.
I'm melting. That's blood. That's blood. Okay, yeah, that's enough of that. So, there we have it. From that, we can establish the relative timeline. Our characters were from Gilneas originally, got messed up and became Wargies under the rule of Aragal. We saved this Wargie from basically just frickin' rocked up until we got our ass handed to us by the Scourge and became Lich King's biatch. Anyway, that's enough from me. So I'm gonna go grab a glass of wine as it's now coming up to about lunchish, and I'll see you soon for more content. Be sure to do the whole likey, subscribey thing. I keep saying this, so make sure you do it, because it is greatly appreciated, as always. And much love. Bye-bye.